Welcome to The Artist Matters. I'm Alex Rudy, and each week you will meet incredible artists from all walks of life. Filmmakers, writers, actors, painters, musicians, and so many more, sharing their stories to motivate and inspire the creative in you. Whether you're doing it for fun or looking to make a living, this show will help you on your journey to bring out the artist within and letting the world know that your art matters. Hi, one and all. Welcome to The Artist Matters. I'm your host, Alex Rudy. Yeah, welcome to November. It is sweet sorrow to say goodbye to October, the month of Halloween. I did survive my 31-day art challenge. I churned out a new piece of art every day for the month of October. That was Halloween themed. I made it. I really did. I'm quite surprised because there were some days it's reaching 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I've got nothing. But somehow, some way I pulled it off. You can check out all my stuff on Instagram at InstantAlex70. Let me know what you think. I've gotten some great feedback from other artists, and it's been a blessing. They've been asking me to check out their work. Their work blows me away. So it's a great way of connecting, and it was a really good challenge. I'm glad it's over at the same time. I can get back to some sense of normalcy, whatever that means. And I was able to get one more day of Halloween. On November 1st, I went to my first ever outing to Howl-O-Scream in Busch Gardens. And I love the creativity there. The costumes, the makeup, the sets for these haunted houses, the way they change stuff in the park to accommodate these creatures and characters and all these little set pieces. The incredible choreography and dancing at this stage show called Fiends. I really wanted to interview someone who was involved with Howl-O-Scream. I reached out to them, but never heard back. Hey, maybe a future episode. Have to wait till next year. But I'm glad I got in one more day. And that kind of leads into today's guest. She is in the film business. She's a director, screenwriter. She has written some horror movie scripts and has even directed a feature that is a supernatural thriller with horror elements. Today's guest is Elke Blasi. Elke is another artist who hails from Long Island. And she explains how she was drawn into filmmaking and even wrote some kind of a script at age 11, even before she knew what a script was. And she went to the New York Film Academy, had a good program there, got to find a mentor to help her learn the biz while she wrote a script. She made some short films and was kind of on the fence about what she should do, if this should be a career or not. An accident made her rethink things, and she decided that it was time to make a feature. And that's how she came up with Star 69. She explains how she came up with the idea, her writing process, how she got people together to film the movie. And she even got my acting teacher, Lori Ann Davis, to be a star in the movie. Now, what's very interesting about this movie is it took a very long time to complete. And when I say very long, it's 12 years. Elke explains what happened and why it took so long to complete, but the important thing is she actually finished it, she committed to it, and she stuck with it. And that there is a huge life lesson. No matter what it takes, somehow, some way, she found a way to get that movie done. So she has a lot more to offer. Take it from me. This is going to be a great interview. I can't wait for you to listen to it. So let's dive in and enjoy my chat with Elke Blasi. Okay, here she is. Welcome to the show, Elke Blasi. Welcome.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Oh, happy to connect with you. We do have a common person, obviously. It is Lori Davis, my acting teacher, and she was in your movie.
That's right. Lori was my associate producer, casting. She's amazing. She really helped me tremendously. So hi, Lori.
Yes. I'll give you a plug here. She was guest number 1 on this podcast. So
Awesome.
And you hail from New York?
I'm a New Yorker. That's right.
What were some...
Born and raised.
On the island, or was it in one of the boroughs?
Well, technically, I was born in Brooklyn and then lived in Queens for the first couple years of my life, and then moved to Long Island and been here ever since.
And so what were some of your earliest creative memories? Was it anything to do with filmmaking or something else?
Yeah, I thought all kids did this, but... Sorry about that. Did I lose you there? I thought all kids did this, but my favorite thing to do growing up was to play tag with my friends, okay? But I always put a spin on it. So the biggest kid in the neighborhood, Andrew Pagano, a good friend of mine, grew up with him. He was the killer. We always made him the killer, whether he was Jason, Voorhees, or Michael Myers. We said, you're it, and you have to chase us, and we got to hide from you. So that was my spin on tag, and I couldn't wait to play it every day. I think my friends thought I was nuts, but they got really into it. I thought all kids did this, but I guess it was just me. I always had that kind of imagination, Always wanted to be, pretend I was being chased by something terrible.
What do you think that stems from? Was it just you saw a horror movie at a young age that...
Bad parenting? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm totally kidding. No, my parents are awesome. My parents put up with me so much. No, they're awesome. I'm totally kidding. Yes, I started watching horror movies really young, and they didn't scare me at all. My mom didn't want me to watch it because she thought I would have nightmares, but that never happened. It just really kicked off my creativity more than anything else, because I knew it was fake, and I knew it was safe. So that's what made it so fun, because I could watch it and kind of be scared in the moment, but knew nothing was going to happen to me. I had that understanding very early on as a child. So I never had nightmares because of that. And I just really liked them because I actually thought that if it was done well, horror movies did more for me than anything else because it's really hard to do well. And I realized that at a young age. Like, if I wasn't scared, I would change it, put in another movie, until I found something that either creeped me out or scared the bejesus out of me. And that's when I knew I had a good movie to watch. And basically, that's how I got my start, I think, with really liking the genre. But I like all genres, but that was, I think, the thing that kick-started me wanting to get into film.
Now, you wrote your first screenplay at the age of 11? What was that about?
That was called The Field. And down the block from my house, growing up, there was this field. It was called the backfields. I don't know, the kids in the neighborhood called it that. And we would go there and hang out and really not do much. But there was something always creepy about it, especially on like a damp day when it was very misty out. And again, I would make everybody play these games with me. And just hanging out there just always sparked my imagination. And so I started writing about it, and it was like a whodunit thing, like which one of our friends was the killer. That's kind of what it was. And it was just fun, and I would stay in several days just to work on this. I didn't want to go outside and play. I wanted to work on this screenplay. I didn't even know that it was called a screenplay, to be honest with you. I was just writing it down. And I really kept most of the things I've worked on in my life. That's why I have so many notebooks and stuff like that. It's hard for me to get rid of them because I look at my writing when I was a kid and I was like, wow, I didn't realize that I was writing a screenplay at the time, but I had the character names done and the action and the description. And later on, when I started really learning how to write screenplays, I realized, well, I guess I kind of was on the right track then. But yeah, it started really when I was young, and I didn't really care what anybody thought because it was just for me. You know what I mean? I would tell my friends about it, but nobody was critiquing me, so I just kind of went with it. It was a lot of fun.
And did you have a sold-out performance in your backyard for something? I think you wrote that in your book.
Yeah, my brother and I would do like these little plays, like stunt shows, because we were big Dukes of Hazzard fans, and we were like, we could do something like that in the backyard. And we would do these little things. And I remember my dad got me like this adding machine. I was like really obsessed with cash registers. It's so bizarre. I don't know. I like the sound it made. So I started making fake tickets and stuff like that. And I started putting flyers in the neighbors' mailboxes. And before you know it, they're all coming and they're paying like $2 to come see this stupid thing that we put together. And we sold them out. And we did that a couple of times. And so that was a lot of fun too.
So I guess it seems safe to say that your family was supportive of your creative outlets.
So supportive, because I think I was a little bit dramatic as a child, and I would tell them that if I didn't do this, I feel dead inside. That became like my mantra. I don't want to feel dead inside. So they took me seriously, thank God, and they were honestly more supportive than I could ever imagine them being, and I will always be grateful for that, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have pursued anything. They always had my back. They always pushed me. They always gave me the confidence. And I think that's really important for any parent who recognizes that a child really wants to do something and has a desire to do something. And maybe they're even really good at it. And even if they're not good at it, but just to lead them in that right direction, because kids don't know where to go. They don't know what they have access to. So to be able to guide them in that way, I think is so, so important, to just recognize and be aware. And don't force on them anything that maybe they wanted them to be. But you got to really listen to what your kids want to be and try to guide them. And they may change their mind 50 million times, but that's okay. Yeah. That's part of the process, right?
Yes.
So I'm grateful for that.
And then, did you write scripts during your teen years? Any scripts or any plays?
Yeah, I did. I continued to do that. And at one point, I wanted to make sure I was, writing them correctly. So I would go to workshops, and then I spent some time in California, and I did a lot of workshops there. And I felt like that was the best place for me to learn, because I was meeting real working screenwriters. And that really became my best education, was to read produced screenplays. Once you read enough screenplays, you get in that flow, you realize what works. This is how it works. I get it. And then when you could watch the movie after that, and even have it kind of next to you while you're watching the movie, I thought that was such a great tool, because now I could see how it was directed and how it was translated. And that was really cool. And it made me want to write more and more. And I would write all the time. I have so many. Some that I got through and finished, and others that I did not. But all of it was good to learn from.
It was a necessary process to get some of these scripts out of your system, no matter what, right?
Exactly. You got to write. If you're going to be a writer, you got to write. It's one thing to say you're a writer, but you really have to hone your craft it's like exercising. You can't build the muscles if you don't exercise. It's the same thing with writing. Same thing with, I think, anything that you need to practice, right? So,
absolutely.
Yeah, for me, that was important.
Well, speaking of education, you made the pilgrimage to New York Film Academy.
Yes.
How was their filmmaking program? It was great.
I remember one of my teachers, Dylan Kidd, went on to do some really good stuff, and it was a really good. The teachers were great. It was good. I liked it. It was a really good vibe, really positive atmosphere, and it was very hands-on, obviously. And it was a short program. It was only about 3 months, and I was doing it after work at night.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I really didn't want to go to a 4-year film school. I really don't think it's the most necessary thing to do. What I think is more important is to really just get hands-on training, get on set as much as you can. And for me, while I was doing that, I found a mentor. So I was going to a lot of film festivals while I was going to New York Film Academy, and I was really trying to network. And I think that was the most important thing for me to do, because through that process of networking, I met someone who really knew the business side, really